Hey curl friends, it's me, Naturally Sage. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a deep condition with me. You know what that means. You know what that means. I'm gonna be spilling the tea. Just kidding, I don't have any tea to spill. I'm just gonna be talking about some natural hair, what are they called? Conspiracies, myths, natural hair, controversial topics. I don't know what you want to call them, but I'm just going to be talking about some curly hair things that curly hair people like to talk about. And I just want to say that 100% of my curl friends are online. So y'all are all my friends. So that's why I'm making a video like this, because I was like, I can't just sit down and talk with someone about these things that I want to talk about. So I might as well make a video about it, doing my favorite thing, which is deep conditioning. You know that you're not going to be able to watch a deep conditioning video with me without me going through just some things that you should be doing while you're deep conditioning, and of course why you should be doing it in the first place if you're not doing it. So let's get started. Okay. First thing that we're going to be going over is the products that I'm going to be using. Handy dandy mister, I know y'all already knew that. Denman, fake Denman. I still haven't gotten me a new Denman brush. It's been like 6 months since I cracked mine off in my hair, and this one still works. It was really cheap too compared to the Denman brush. And then, because I'm going to be using all of my mental efforts to talk to y'all, I thought I would be using like the GOAT of my deep conditioners, which is my Camille Rose Algae Renew deep conditioner. This is my top deep conditioner. Oh my gosh, I have a review video. I don't know why I do that. I'm sorry. It just reminds me to put it up there later. But I have a video where I reviewed this deep conditioner. I hadn't used it in a while, and let's just say she's that girl. So as always, first things first, no fancy, always sitting a little too close to that backdrop. So the current situation on my hair is I went on a 7-day road trip. I co-washed my hair when I got home, and then it sat in a bun for 5 days. And now today's the day. Today is the day. Oh man, my hair feels so dry. Ooh. Ooh. I'm cool. Everything's cool. We are good. We're just gonna enjoy this wash day or deep condition day, whatever you want. Chaotic energy. Chill. I'm gonna chill. I just feel like I get really excited to make videos for you guys most of the time, not all the time, but like I just get so excited, and then I just drop stuff and fall and hurt myself. It's just too much. Oh wow, this is drier than I thought. If I would have felt my hair 5 days ago, I probably would have felt more motivation, but I purposefully ignored it because I was like not in the mood to do it. I just wasn't in the mood. You know how that goes sometimes. So the first thing that I really wanted to talk about and that I've been thinking about a lot lately is shrinkage. And I want to say this. I think that shrinkage is a good thing. That's the first thing I want to say. I think it's a good thing, and I think we should all embrace it more. And here is why. So I do have a confession to make, and I hope I'm not, it's hard because I want to encourage people to love their shrinkage and embrace their shrinkage, but I remember a time where my hair was this far off my head and then it would shrink to here. And all I'm going to say about that is I totally get it. I understand when your hair is shorter and it shrinks 90%, it's difficult to be excited because you're just waiting sometimes for your hair to grow to get to this one length. And that's kind of part of it too. And the whole thing about natural hair and about the natural hair journey is it's so important to love your hair every step of the journey. And that is something that I regret. When I look back at my journey, I remember the goal was always length, 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 length. So with the goal of wanting my hair to be longer and longer and longer, shrinkage soon became the enemy because it made my hair shorter. Once I started to release the idea that my hair had to be long to be beautiful in its natural state, I started to love my shrinkage because you know what else I realized? If your hair doesn't shrink, it's not healthy. Like right now, I'm not experiencing a lot of shrinkage, and this is kind of the length of my hair, right? Because it's in an unhealthy state. When your hair shrinks back up, that means it's moisturized and it's healthy. That's what our curls are supposed to do. And it also means that you have good elasticity in your hair, which is the ability of your curls to bounce back. Like, do you want long, limp, straight, curlless hair? I don't think so, girl. Embrace that shrinkage. And you know what? I'm not saying I better start this, otherwise, you know, I'm gonna be sitting here forever chatting it up because that's what I do. I can talk. Okay. I made a cup of coffee, and it's not coffee, it's like espresso. It's got me going. I want to make it clear that even though I am encouraging y'all and encouraging myself, because it's a thing that I have to do too, to embrace my shrinkage, there is nothing wrong with coming up with your own regimen to combat shrinkage. You know, like there are days that I want my hair to be nice and short and defined and moisturized. And then there are days where I do want my curls to look longer, and I do want to, you know, elongate my curls a little bit and not engage in the shrinkage situation. And that's okay. I'm not saying that you can never stretch. That's the word. I keep saying elongated, but I want to say stretch. I'm not saying that it's bad to stretch your hair or that you can't stretch your hair or anything like that, because I do it. Like, I love the idea of being able to have my hair short, defined, and moisturized one day, and then having this like elongated, stretched, voluminous hair as well. That's what's so beautiful about having natural hair, is that it's so versatile. We can look like 6 different people in 6 different days, you know? Again, I'm not saying that shrinkage is a bad thing. I'm just saying I would like the conversation surrounding it to be a little bit less negative. Like, instead of combat shrinkage videos, like how to stretch your hair, you know? I think that wanting to get another look is totally normal and totally a thing. I just don't like the whole idea that in order in order to do that, you have to hate the shrinkage. I didn't want to go here, but another reason why I really dislike the negative conversations about shrinkage is because it just goes into the bucket of the many things that Black women have to deal with when it comes to our hair in general. Like, I'm getting upset just thinking about it. Like, you know, just these things that happen to us throughout our lives that teach us that natural hair is bad, curly hair is bad, having short hair is bad, having certain textures is bad, or it doesn't look professional. I am so sick of these conversations, and I feel like that having the conversation, the negative conversation about shrinkage, just enhances some of those thoughts. I grew up thinking that my hair was unruly, unprofessional, and ugly. I remember going to the salon begging my mom to get a relaxer for years. And I remember the salon charging us extra because my hair was so thick and so coarse, and my mom didn't have a word to say about it. So I thought that that was a normal thing, and she started making that a normal thing. She started actually offering people more money to do my hair because she knew how thick my hair was. And at the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. It didn't seem like that was having any prolonged effect on me. But when I think back, I feel like that's really messed up, that I went to the salon, got the same service as someone else, and they charged me more because I naturally have a lot of hair. I just from a young age started realizing that I was different. And when you are a young Black girl in a white community, the last thing you want to be is different. You already look so different with your brown eyes and brown hair and brown skin. The last thing I ever wanted was to be different. So all I wanted to do was try and fit in with everyone else, like most kids did. I mean, that's like a normal thing. And one of the first things that I really wanted to get rid of was my hair. I grew up with my mother, who is white, and while her and some of my aunts and my grandmother did, you know, what they thought they could at the time, it was the 90s, trying to figure out how they could do my hair and how they could keep my hair healthy. They were asking around, but I mean, even asking around in that time, there weren't any really Black people in the town that I was from. So it was tough for them to understand how my hair, it was tough for them to understand how they were supposed to manage my hair and keep my hair healthy. And so that in turn had me rocking some hairstyles that were a little iffy, you know? And I had family members who would call me things like Don King and other names, and friends at school would laugh at my hair if I wore it out. It was like the afro was this big caricature and character person, and I did not like having attention on me at the time, and I was just so different from everyone else. It felt like, oh gosh, like I'll do anything to look like my mom and look like the rest of my family and look like everyone else around me. I'm sick of of looking different and being different and having people comment on how I look different, isn't that crazy how this little conversation about shrinkage went to talk about how I started to grow a hate for my hair. And it starts young with these little situations that just start piling up, and these little ideas that we have about how our hair should look, how it should lay, and how it should be, that starts that hate inside of how you look, and then it goes to who you are. And whew, I'm going to be making a video on my natural hair journey, some of my feelings throughout the journey, and I'll really go into depth with it. That was just like a little snippet, because I think it's important to talk about some of the things that we talk about daily in the natural hair community, because those things really affect us, and they really change the way that we view ourselves and that we view our hair and the way that it should look, instead of loving it how it is. Whew. Okay. I am going to take a little intermission. Gonna put in some work on the back of this head, and then once we get back to the front, I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk a little bit more about hair. We're gonna talk more about some deep conditioning techniques, some products that I recommend, and all of that good stuff. I hope y'all are enjoying so far, because this video is like one of my favorites. I think I'm sweating. Am I sweating yet? Yeah, just a little bit. I love y'all. Love. Talking about love. Until about 3 years ago, I hated my hair. I hated my skin. I hated my eyes. I hated everything about my appearance, which in turn made it pretty difficult to love everything about the inside. So we've talked about some of the things that happened throughout my hair journey that helped me hate myself and hate my hair. And now I want to shift, and I want to talk about some of the things I started doing in order to love myself and love my hair and love my shrinkage and love my coils and love all of these things that we were taught from a young age to hate. Like, I can't remember a time where I wasn't, when I look back on it, I can't remember a time where I wasn't being slighted. Like, I feel like so many situations thinking about my hair and thinking about experiences that I had that just like, you know? I'm sorry. Before I go into the love, I just want to do a little like story time. Just a little bit, because this story was like a pivotal moment for me. I remember thinking like I was never gonna wear my hair in an afro again. So I'm in the 4th grade, right? And by the time I was in the 4th grade, my hair, I kid you not, if I can find a picture, I'll insert it like right here. But it was like large and in charge by then. Bigger than my body, you know, it was a tiny little thing. We had this like crazy hair day at school, and I was so excited because my whole life everyone had been telling me that my hair was crazy and unruly and crazy. So I was so excited. I was like, crazy hair day, my hair is naturally crazy. Like it's just gonna be a wrap. Like I'm just gonna win this competition. Like this was something I felt like I could do. So one of my aunts that I was really close with, she did my hair. Looking back, I think it was supposed to be like a wash and go. We did a leave-in. She kind of raked it through my hair and brushed everything through, and then she put in this like silk therapy. Ooh, yikes. She put in this silk therapy oil. So I think it was like a wash and go, whatever. But my hair was huge, right? And I go to school, I get to homeroom, and like all the kids are laughing at me. And they're like, I don't know if they were chanting something, but it felt like it. It felt like when I look back, it felt like when I look back on it that like the kids were pointing and laughing. Like they were all joking about my hair. They were like just screaming at how funny it looked that my hair was out. And I was like, I remember leaving the house feeling so nervous. I was like, I really don't want the kids to make fun of me. I really just like want to be cute and pretty and beautiful like all the other girls, right? Or not all of them, but you know what I'm saying. But I get to school and everyone's laughing at me, making fun of me. Like no one thinks that my hair looks cool. They all think that I look goofy and funny like a clown. Oh my gosh, I cried and cried and cried behind my teacher's desk. And I remember her telling me like, oh my gosh, Kara, your hair is so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Do not let those kids tear you down, whatever. You know, she was so nice about it. And she's like, anyone that says anything about my hair is gonna be in trouble, all this stuff. But it's like, that was a traumatic experience. From that moment on, I remember asking like, Mom, how can I straighten my hair like the rest of the kids? And at the time, my mom thought relaxing was a bad thing because of the chemicals that were involved. So she didn't want me to do it because she thought my hair, she thought it was too premature and that my hair needed to be more mature before I put any chemicals on it, which I'm very grateful for now. But then that just built it up in me for years. I just waited for the moment. I saw Princess Diaries and I was like, this is it. You see, she had curly hair, now she has straight hair. I could have straight hair, I could be like everybody else. It was so traumatic. I remember thinking like I never wanted to wear my hair out ever again. I didn't for like maybe until like I became natural again, because I really was traumatized in that moment. And I think that is gonna bring me to the first thing that I think is really important for our young Black women, young Black girls, is representation. I walked around a town where I had no Black teachers, no Black anything, no Black people. Until I got to high school, I didn't have a single, I don't even want to just say Black, but I didn't have a single minority teacher, maybe one from K until 9. And he was very light. So I'm just saying, like, I did not have anyone Black in my town. I walked in the grocery store looking at magazines and it was always a white woman with long, bone straight blonde hair. That's what I thought was beautiful. That's what I thought I had to be. And I thought that since there was no way that I could be that I couldn't be beautiful. When you watch TV and watch shows and cartoons and you don't see Black girls being portrayed, you don't see Black girls being doctors and being nurses and being firefighters and cops and not cops, but teachers and regular people in society, you feel like an alien. Like I felt like I did not belong and that everything that I was never going to be beautiful or seen as beautiful. So one of the first things I had to do in order to start loving myself was recognize that. Acknowledge that not seeing other people who look like you on TV, in movies, in magazines, in art and in life really changes the way that you see beauty and changes the way that you think about how you should look and how you should be. So after I started to really realize that the media and the things that I was looking at didn't involve Black women, I tried my very best to find anything that had Black people in it, Black people directing, Black people producing, Black people acting. And I started to see more of myself in things, and it started to feel possible that I could be a model, or I could be something or someone that was on one of these billboards or in one of these commercials. Because when I was younger, I wanted to be a model, but I really didn't believe that I actually could, because I never saw anyone that looked like me. I saw Tyra, and I remember when I saw Tyra on America's Next Top Model, I was like, dang, I hope they go for a season 63 so I could try out, because Tyra will tell me I'm beautiful, surely, because no one else would. Or they did, it just didn't mean anything. So, like with most issues that I deal with in my life, like, first thing is acknowledgement, is acknowledging that there's a problem. And then the next thing was to change the way that I was living, to go out of my way and to educate myself, and just to see, like, I didn't have any Black Barbies to play with. I didn't have toys that were for little Black girls. And I know that some people don't think that's a big deal, but it really changes what you think is beautiful and what you see. Because as a kid, you just want to fit in and you just want to be whatever that thing is, which for me, it was blonde hair and blue eyes. So the next step for me was honestly forcing myself to look at myself in the mirror every day and find something I liked about my face and about my hair. Sometimes I'd stand in the mirror for 10 minutes just trying to find something that I liked. Like, oh, this little line sometimes happens when I smile and I think it's cute. Or the way my lips curl up when I think that I'm being funny. You really have to look at yourself differently, and then you really have to take a look at yourself and see yourself as a person, because for a long time it almost feels like you're not a person, like you don't fit anywhere. Like, I got old enough that I left home for college and finally a place where there were other Black people, but I didn't fit in there either, because sometimes unfortunately, sometimes Black people like to judge you on your level of Blackness. The next thing you really have to do is start thinking about your thoughts, recognizing when you're having positive thoughts and when you're having negative thoughts. And when you start having those negative thoughts, kind of think about them, pull them apart, right? So I'm thinking this negatively, and instead of going in a downward spiral and thinking, I don't like my hair today. Honestly, I just never like my hair. I really, overall, don't like the way I look. You see how those 3 comments started with hair? Then it was a little bit bigger. Then it was just a little bit bigger. That's kind of how negativity and positivity works. You start with something small, and then you gradually get bigger, or at least that's kind of what naturally happens. The thought gets bigger. It gets more real. You start to believe it. When you say negative thoughts over and over and over to yourself, you start to believe it. And when people tell you natural hair is ugly and brown skin is ugly and dark skin is ugly, you start to believe that too. So what I'm saying is, when you hear something over and over, whether it's from an outside source or from an inner source or from yourself, you start to take that on as a belief, and your actions start changing because of that belief now. Now that you believe that you are ugly and you hate your hair, you're not gonna want to spend time getting ready and doing your hair because you don't believe it's worth it, because you think you're ugly now and you think that that's a belief, period. So you have to get to the root of the negative thought and why you're having it. Why do I think my natural hair is ugly? Is it because I went through experiences in my life that brought me to this point? Do I just not like my hair? What is going on here? So we can unpack those things and try and remedy. That's what I tried to do that's what I did for myself, right? So I started thinking about my feelings. I started thinking about why I was having these feelings and how I could change how I could take this perspective and change it into something that was positive. So for a long time, I didn't really love my hair. For a long time, I didn't really love the length of my hair. And I didn't really like how it looked. So I started to think about, like, why am I not liking my hair? Like, what's going on here? Do I not just like the way it looks right now? Or is there something else? And the more that I looked at it from a positive perspective and trying to solve the problem instead of identifying the problem, I started thinking, okay, why don't I take more time and more energy on making my hair healthy? Because if my hair is in its healthiest state, then I can see how I want to style it and how I can style it to make myself feel beautiful. After you acknowledge your trauma and you start thinking about your thoughts and identifying the reasons why you're having those thoughts, that's a really, really tough phase, by the way. It takes a lot of time to think about, and I wish I had some better advice on how to navigate that, and how you can actually identify why you're feeling your feelings. But I think part of being able to identify your feelings is knowing yourself and being honest with yourself, brutally honest with yourself, because you have to move your ego aside sometimes. Sometimes it isn't about what other people have done to you. It's about your reaction to those things that were done to you. Or so now I'm kind of in a place. So now I'm in the place where it's time to accept those things and figure out a way how to move forward. And when I say to accept something, I'm talking about, like, you've got to release it. When you think of this trauma or you think of this thought, you haven't fully gotten over it if it still makes you feel a lot. You know, if you think about a past traumatic event and you feel like you're back in the middle of that event, I think that means that you haven't fully healed from it, and that you have to take time within yourself to heal from these things. These things that we've experienced as Black women is built up trauma. It is so much trauma compacted onto another that you have to go back and unpack that in whatever way makes sense for you. So for me, it made sense for me to think about all of these issues that I had, and to talk with someone about them, and to talk with other Black women. I reached out. No. So for me, part of that healing was talking with people about it, telling them, when this happened, I felt this because of this, you know? Until you're able to release some of the trauma, it's going to be difficult to move forward and love yourself and love your hair and love your body and your skin and all of those things, right? So once you move forward from the trauma, it's time to begin, instead of pointing out negative things to yourself about yourself, it's time to begin talking positively and figuring out how you can be a better person for yourself. Because when you're working on yourself to be better, and you're working on your hair to be in its best natural state, and your body to be in its healthiest state, you feel good about yourself. You feel good about the steps that you're taking in order to be the person that you want to be. And it doesn't always feel like you're doing the best job, but you really have to be honest with yourself and truly think about, like, am I the best version of myself? Am I who I want to be? And I think part of it is just waking up in every day and not thinking about who you want to be, but just being that person and being someone that you're proud to be. I saw this campaign with Viola Davis, and it was just so powerful. Say it with me. I am worth it. Say it again. I am worth it. I am worth it. Whatever it is, you are worth it. We are so lucky to breathe every day, wake up and be alive. I am so grateful for this body and this life. I never want to look back again and think about how I didn't love myself enough, or I didn't take care of myself enough. Because when I look back, I feel like I took care of other people, and I feel like I did a lot for other people, and trying to make sure that they were okay and make sure that their feelings were okay, when I put myself on the back burner. And I realized I can't fill anyone else with an empty cup. My cup has to be full. You have to take time for yourself. You have to do things that make you happy. Whatever those things are, you have to, you know what? Before I even tell you to do things that make you happy, you have to figure out what makes you happy, what brings you joy. Doing my hair on camera and being here with you guys brings me joy, because maybe damn. Maybe someone doesn't have to go through what I went through for 23 years, maybe. And that's why, okay. why I'm here. Protect Black women, okay? We need it. We really fucking need it. I really hope I'm helping someone fight their battle right now. Please never feel like I'm an unreachable human being. I love to talk about this stuff. If you or someone you know feels like they don't have somebody to talk to, or they want to talk about any of these issues or anything, I'm here. The point of me putting myself out here like this is so I can help someone and I can be there for someone who needs what I needed. Whew. I'm gonna go ahead, get bagged up, do all my layers, and sit, you know. I love my hair. My hair brings me so much joy, and it's crazy to think because it's just not, it's not just hair. It's not. Okay, y'all, I promised some deep condition tips and tricks, so here we go. Please forgive me. I know we're 42 minutes in, but if y'all made it this far, I am proud. So the first thing that I recommend to enhance your deep conditioner is adding a source of heat. There are many ways that you can do this. You can have a steamer or you can have a gel cap like I do. But if you don't have any of those things, you can use a grocery bag like I have on my first layer, and then you can just go ahead and layer that. So you can add a towel, you can add a wrap, anything to just generate some heat so you can open up the cuticle of your hair and receive all of that moisture. The next thing that I recommend for deep conditioning is making sure that you rinse your hair out with cold water. Now that we've used heat to open up our cuticle, and our hair has had the chance to completely absorb all that moisture, we want to close up the cuticle so you don't lose all that moisture that you just gained. So rinsing with cold water is going to help you do that. Another thing that I think is really important when it comes to deep conditioning, and it's actually two things, they go hand in hand together. It's working in sections and making sure that you detangle those sections as you go. And I hope y'all know this, but if you don't, I'm just going to mention, make sure that you're detangling starting from the bottom up in order to minimize breakage as much as possible. I'm going to go ahead and leave some of my favorite deep conditioners down below if y'all wanted to try. But the last thing that I wanted to say, and the last recommendation I have when it comes to deep conditioning, is to have fun with it. I have tried to frame my deep conditioning experience as a hobby, as something that's self-care, something that I do for myself to keep my hair healthy, because when you start to frame it as having a part-time job or making it a chore, it's something that you don't want to do, and it's something that's not fun. So I recommend taking that time and turning it into me time, playing music, lighting candles, putting an incense diffuser on, make your space a happy space to be in. Thanks for watching. I'm Naturally Sage. My meanest feeling.